Hey, what's going on, all you great creators out there? Welcome to another FB Designz tutorial. I am Rob, your host, and today we are going to be creating this, an ink splash reveal. So let's get started. Let's jump on over to After Effects. First thing we want to do is we want to right click in our window here, go to Import. We will do multiple files for this. We'll import these first, and then we'll import our inks. Now you can search Google and find like a paper, like this is like an old parchment paper background, and you should be able to find the inks too. So not to panic there. And of course, this is meant for, what did I do here? This is meant for a slideshow. So I'm just going to show you how to build the first part of it. Let's go back here and hit import. Okay, we're done there. So the first thing we want to do is go to new composition. We will name this main. We will leave it at 1920 by 1080, 60 frames or 30 frames. That's up to you really. And 5 seconds of length. The background color doesn't really matter. We'll leave it black. Okay, and then the next thing we want to do is we want to come up here to composition. Go to new composition. And this one we want to name media placeholder. And the reason why we're naming it that is because this is where you're going to change out your photos if you decide to create a slideshow out of this. Okay, again, we're going to leave it at 1920 by 1080, 60 frames a second. You know, basically match your main comp and click OK. Now, we start out automatically in this composition, so we want to go over here, grab our, for me, this is the background that I'm using. Like I said, you can use whatever photo or image that you want. Okay, we can click out of here. We don't really need to do anything here. I didn't mean to do that, but okay. And take our media placeholder and drag it down to our main composition. And now from here, there's a couple things we want to do. And the first thing is we want to go to tint, drag our tint over. We're not going to touch any of the settings in this, so that's good. And then this one here, we want directional blur. There we go. We'll drop that on the photo. We're going to turn this up to about 10, just to give it a little bit of blur. All right, there we go. All right. Now, just so we have a little bit of movement at the beginning of this, we're going to go to the end of our timeline. We will hit S on our keyboard to bring up our scale. Click on our stopwatch to create a keyframe. Go back to the beginning of our composition, and we will turn this up to about 110. Yeah, just like that. You don't have to worry about using the keyframes on this. I mean, you can if you want, but it's such a short clip, you're really not going to notice the difference in this situation. But I always do suggest that you ease your keyframes. Okay, so with that being done, we want to go to our project window. We're going to take our paper background here. We're going to drop it below our background here. Make sure our background is highlighted. Click T for opacity. And we're going to set this down to about 20%. Just so that way we can see some of the highlights of the paper come through and whatnot. Just to give it a little bit of character. All right. So with that being done, we can go drag in our ink. I have a couple of these. You can use the same one. It really don't matter. Okay. Go to the end of the timeline. So this way we can see the full thing already spread out. Go up here. Go to a ellipse tool. And we're going to drag out a mask over this whole thing. Now, in order to get rid of this white background, so we have a transparent background, what we want to do is go to Luma key. This comes bundled with your After Effects, so you don't have to worry about purchasing anything special. We want to go up here to the key out, or the key type. Go to key out brighter. And we're going to turn this up to about 70, 80, somewhere in that area. That's fine, where we're seeing mostly dark ink. Okay, and then again, we want to do the same thing to our, next ink, which we need to go back to the project window. This was 8.2, so now we want ink 1. Again, you might be working with just one ink, and that's okay. Oh, jumping ahead of ourselves here. We need to create another mask. And always make sure you're on the layer when you're going to do mask, otherwise it'll want to draw a shape. Okay, let's see, we can take this one here and we'll solo this one. There we go. Now to expand this, just go to your selection tool or hit V on your keyboard, and you can double click like any one of those points there. Now we can just drag this out a little bit. There we go, we got it prepped for Luma key. Grab our Luma key, drop it on, and again, we're going to go up here, go to key out brighter, jack it up to about 70 something. Yeah, right there, because I want to see all nice crisp black. All right, there we go. We can unsolo this now so we can see our background. Now we know most of what we want to see the background is pretty much center to the composition, so it may be a little bit different, but basically what you want to do is you just want to take these inks here. We'll do it so you can see the background back there. So we'll take these inks and we'll move them around, and then we'll hit Control D to make a copy of it. Go to scale, so that way you can change the sizes of them and whatnot. Drag that up there. We'll take the scale. We'll scale this down a little bit so we can add some different stuff in there. And then we'll go to ink 2. We'll make a copy of this. We'll drag it on up. Take our rotation tool so we can spin it around. Now, so you don't want to see stuff like this and then the matching part over here. So this is why I take some of these and I swivel them around and whatnot, and kind of move that into place, because remember, anything that you're seeing yellow back here, you're going to see in the composition, even when we're done. So remember that. If you don't want to see any of these yellows peeking through, then you have to move your ink over to where it doesn't, no yellow shows. So, okay, we got, let's do another copy of 2. We will move this over, and let's see, we'll put this up here somewhere. We will take our rotation tool, we'll spin this up. Oh yeah, there we go. That looks pretty good. And we will move this up. It doesn't matter if it's off the screen a little bit. Again, we can hit scale. We can scale this up a little bit if we need to, but I kind of like them small. And make sure we got the yellow covered up. Alright, then we'll take and make another copy of 1. And we'll kind of move this up here. Maybe hit the scale, make this a little bit bigger. Let's rotate this around a little bit so we get something a little different. Maybe place this down here, and then I'll probably make one more for this area right here. So let's do another 2. And we'll take that and drag it down. And see, now we're making different patterns with different edges. And the same thing for over on this side. So, Okay, that pretty much covers everything that we need it to cover right there. All right, so let's twirl all these up so we can see what we're doing. We're going to highlight our top one while holding shift. Click on the bottom one, select them all, right click, go to pre-compose, and we will name these splats. Just for the fun of it. You can name them splashes or ink splashes or, you know, anything you need to keep yourself organized. So, okay, so we got our ink splats. Now, next thing we want to do is we want to go to project. We want to take another copy of our background and drop it below the splats, just like so. But there's a couple things we want to do to this first, so let's solo this. We are going to take a tint because I don't want it so bright blue, and we're going to mix this down a little bit, something like that. If you would like to know how I made this background, leave me a comment. I need to do some Photoshop tutorials anyway, because this is where I did this at. And anyway, yeah, if you would like to know how I created that, just leave me a comment, and I'll see if we can't make a tutorial about it. All right, so let's unsolo this. Now highlight this. In case you don't see the track mat, you might have to hit F4 on your keyboard, like that. We're going to take this, we're going to make it an alpha mat. Now if we scroll back through our timeline, this is what we got. Pretty darn cool, huh? Okay, so now as you see here, some of her arm is covered up. So what we want to do is go back into these splats. We'll make a copy, Control D, and we'll drag it up here, like so. Okay, now we'll go back to our main, and there we go. I kind of like that. I mean, I could get rid of some of this top stuff here, but I kind of like that. It adds a little bit of character to it, especially with some of this yellow bleed going throughout a little bit here and there. That's pretty good. I like that. Now, what I didn't like were seeing these drops like this. So the way I took care of this was, because you remember now, in the background, this image is moving in the background. So what I did was I went to right about there. Okay. Let's hit T on our keyboard to bring up our opacity. And we'll leave that at 100% for right now. We'll go back one keyframe or so. We'll turn it down to 0. Now these you're going to have to play around with. It's all depends on what ink video you get. Some are going to be different. Some will start spreading right from the center automatically without a drip or without a splash. It just starts. Yeah, I like that. Okay, we'll go ahead and let this fully render. So that way we can get a real preview of it. All right, there we go. Now another thing that I did when I was messing around, you know, let's try this. All right, there we go. I like how it gradually starts to open. Besides, it'll be so quick, people will hardly notice it. But okay, so let's go to our title here, the second one that we dropped in. We are going to go to the end of our composition. We are going to hit T, or I'm sorry, S for scale. Hit our stopwatch for a keyframe. Go back. And we are going to, well, not that much. Let's see. Let's see what 130 looks like to start out with. Oh, yeah, there we go. And that sort of adds a slight parallax to your background image. And there we go. Pretty cool, huh? Now, for the background, you could always take a tint, drop that in, and I don't know, maybe add a little bit more brown to it. Or, yeah, something like that. Give it that grungy kind of feel. Yeah, something like that. Now, to make this into a slideshow, you would just go back out to your project, go to your main, go to, let's see, I think it was project settings. Oh no, it might be under, I'm sorry about that. Go to composition, go to composition settings, and you already know this clip, this first clip is 5 seconds, so you would just do 10 seconds, 15 seconds, just depending on how many different slides you want to show. So, and then you would just copy all these into a new composition. Well, here, let's just go through it right quick. All right, so go to composition, go to composition settings. We will turn this up to 10 seconds. Yeah, just like that. Okay. Now remember, you got to pull out your timeline thing here, so don't freak out. All right, now go to, let's see, go to new composition. Leave it all the same except for you want to change this back down to 5 seconds. We'll name this Scene 2, just to stay organized. Go back into your main composition. Here, let's make this so everything's nice and neat. And we're going to take this, we're going to hold Control, hit C. Now come back over to our Scene 2. And then hit Control V. And there we go. Now all you got to do is change out this background picture and the media placeholder, and then change out this other one right here. You just have to change both those sections out, and that's it. You go back to your main, you take your Scene 2, you drag it down, and you take it, you move it up. Let's see, so because we want to make sure that, yeah. And there you go. Let's see. I might have another picture somewhere around that. Well, you get the idea. So I want to keep this kind of simple and quick for everybody. So, but you get the idea. And then you just you can add, text, and then you could add your ink, your ink revealed to the text. You know, it's the same as we did with the photo, except for the text is going to be sitting on top of everything. So I hope you enjoyed, and until the next tutorial, take care, everybody.